if you are an Apple employee or a tech journalist, you may have seen the Apple campus in the Steve Jobs Theater, but you haven't seen it like this. Now, if you have never been there, never seen this in person, I'm going to give you a quick peek inside of the Steve Jobs Theater and the some of the design choices that the architects, Foster and Partners, who are responsible for a very extensive and beautiful collection of work. Foster and Partners. Go Google them or go take a look at some of their things that they've done. They were responsible for the design of the Apple campus and specifically the Steve Jobs Theater. Now, popular opinion is, when you spend a lot of money, expensive real estate is the embodiment of exquisite taste and even touches of luxury. But that's not always the case. Now, in this case, uh, Foster and Partners had a client, Apple, who likely had an unlimited budget to realize their creation. Not literally unlimited, but unencumbered by budget as most projects of this scale would be. So what you'll see is the result of what happens when you have a client that could buy literally anything they want, as long as you can dream it. Now, if you're an architect or have a design background, this video is going to be for you. If you have a great eye for details, this is definitely for you. We're just going to take a closer look at some of the details, some of the decisions, and just show you what many people won't see, or even if you have seen it, you may not have paid much attention to it. Now, I'll try to uncover some things that they got right and some things that were executed poorly. I bet you I can find it. Because it's one thing to design it, but it's another thing to build it. This will be, kind of a sort of an in-depth, comprehensive look into some of the decisions. I'm not going to peel back the whole layers because I don't have access to a lot of the things that I'd like to be able to show. But I found a video that had a pretty good view from the inside and outside of the Steve Jobs Theater. At the end, I think we'll determine what I want to determine, if this is money wasted or money well spent, and if this is going to stand the test of time. And I think this has been built maybe for, I don't know, maybe 6-7 years, maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not exactly sure, but somewhere in that time frame. Let's look and see how it's aged from initial design concept to where it is right now. All right, let's go. Oh, first, I wanted to show you just the approach when you arrive on the Apple campus, just to see some really cool details before we jump into the Steve Jobs Theater. One thing I'll show you right here that I thought was really cool is that this appears to be some sort of a directional legend, geographical legend of where you are on the campus. Looks like this is where in the one quadrant, or out of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 quadrants, and we're over here according to the map here. Oh, it says it right here too. I'm sorry, I hadn't seen this video. So it's 8 quadrants or sections that are how you find your way. And I thought this is pretty cool too. These are typically you'll see kind of like off the shelf type of gate access points. This appears to be something that's definitely bespoke for Apple. It's white. They have soft edges, kind of like how some of the early phones were designed. I thought it was just a pretty cool touch. And then you'll notice the entrance and exit have a soft approach to it as well as we go underneath the trees. It kind of gives me the, it kind of looks like, as you go in, it looks like something from Star Trek, the way the lights kind of hover. And that's something, this is something, I don't know if you can catch the details, something that you don't initially see if you haven't been here before, or even just not familiar with this design. Most garages are, not really produced with really great attention to detail. They're just concrete forms, and that's it. So you'll see, like, the imprints of where the plywood and things like that, whereas they were setting up the forms. But in this case, this is an incredible amount of detail. You can see that it's shiny. It's shiny because this is tile. Like, I'm not really sure how many different pieces of tile, but I would imagine definitely in the millions of pieces of tile. Think of like subway tile, but I hate to use that, but that's kind of like the only thing that I could associate this with. Can't really make out what the pattern is, but looks like white tile, white grout, so you can't exactly see the lines. That's why it has just like a smooth, kind of like spaceship type feel to it, along with the gentle curve here. But this is an incredible feat. Most people wouldn't do this to this. This would be a prohibitively expensive undertaking for anybody, let alone for a garage. This is something that most people won't even see or won't even pay attention to, because it's such a it's just on the way to the office. Not exactly, you're not even inside the office yet. You can kind of start to get a little bit more, um, you can start to see a little bit more of the detail with the tile. Now I'm going to go straight to the Steve Jobs Theater now, because this is just going to go into the garage. So the actual garage itself, looks just like any other garage. So nothing really special here. It's utilitarian, but the approach to the garage that we just left from was pretty interesting. All right, take a look at this. What you see here, and I hope, I don't know if it's going to show a different vantage point, but as you can see here, this is what looks to be, what I heard was about maybe 120 feet diameter of a roof. It is said that this is made from carbon fiber. I'm going to tell you why this is a cool detail. This is a cool detail because you can see there are no columns inside. So that means the structural component for this roof, which I think I read somewhere, it's about 80 tons. 80 tons. So that's the equivalent of, just to give you perspective here, let's see. Think of maybe 20 F-150 trucks. Think of it like that. That may be, I'm just off just a little bit, but just to give you perspective of 20 F-150 pickup trucks. That's how much this weighs. It was chosen, carbon fiber was chosen for a reason. The reason is because there are no columns, this structure, the roof, is going to be supported by the glass. Now, if this looks familiar to you, this is very common. Not so much the structural piece, but the glass that's used, these really tall panels of glass, which appear to be about 20 or so feet, maybe a little bit more. This is in keeping with how a lot of Apple stores are made. They use a lot of expansive glass. I think they are some of the pioneers in using these humongous panes of glass, uninterrupted in humongous panes of glass in a design and also in a structural capacity. Don't mean pioneers, but I think they are known for their excellent usage of it. Something else that's pretty cool is that I see. I'm not really sure if this is in the panel or if this is a reflection, but or a reflection off the ground here. But you can see how the panels here, I think there are separate different radius panels that align with the window frames and also appear to have a reflection. Well, I'm not sure if this is a reflection or if it's a design feature where they align the panel gaps and the panel spacing rather with the spacing of the stone layout. Just pretty cool attention to detail. It looks to be three breaks in the stone, or 3 pieces of stone per panel up here, and then 2 up here. Just a pretty cool detail, pretty good execution of just intentionality with design, with where your eyes go. When your eyes follow, like here's a good example right here. Your eyes follow this line, it goes all the way up here into the line right here. Not even that, but if you see the exterior lighting at each of the seams of the glass, that follows inside as well. You can even see that this seam here follows on the other side of the building. It appears to line up exactly with the seam on this side. I'm not really sure exactly how many panels there are, but this is just a pretty cool detail. All right. The other thing that I learned is that, as you can see, because there are no columns, there's no internal infrastructure for like wiring, for like plumbing, anything that's needed, like fire safety or whatever that's needed to be encapsulated or designed or included in the roof structure underneath here. There's nothing here. All right, so the question is, where is it? Because a lot of places, a lot of buildings will be built where they build a building first and then they put the infrastructure in later. So it's unsightly, but it's just there as utilitarian, or they use columns or something like that to obscure that infrastructure. Kind of like you just see it just as a necessary aspect of design that you have to have to accommodate those things. But they were very intentional about not including those things so that you have uninterrupted views of the landscaping and things like that. Just the nature that this theater is settled in. All right, so the question is, where is it? You see these gaps here? These gaps are 30 millimeters. That's basically a little bit more than an inch. Each one of these gaps holds wiring and specialized plumbing. They go all around, and then they go underneath or above, underneath the roof structure, but obscured by the panels here, where they collect and gather and provide power to the lighting and things like that. Again, the other infrastructure inside. These gaps, I can't make the image bigger, but this is an incredible detail. A lot of contractors, especially like let me say this, they would have to have amassed or acquired some of the most forward-thinking and experimental, cool with experimentation type of contractors there, because a lot of contractors are typically they do things the way things have been done, and if you kind of veer away from what they've done traditionally, they mess it up or just don't want to do it. So it's incredible what you can put together when you have the right resources and the right team to pull off something like this. This is normally just silicone by itself, just to close the gaps in between each pane. So instead of just making this just silicone by itself, they've incorporated infrastructure in these seams. Very cool detail. Other thing of note, that if something happens to this roof, typically the weakest link is the thing that would most likely break. In this case, it would be the glass. Let's say, for example, there's an earthquake or something like that. The weight of the structure, coupled with the vibration of the ground, would typically just render this would be just a weak point. So what I've learned is that there is um, systems underneath the panels that are designed to absorb a lot of the force from an earthquake, so that these are not necessarily the weak link. So that there would be some, think of like a crumple zone in a car. There are structures underneath, steel structures that are designed to act as energy absorption or breakaway type of um, mechanisms to absorb any type of impact to minimize any damage to the panels here. Really cool. Let's go inside. Really cool detail here. You don't see it immediately, but if I point it out to you, you notice right away. This is an elevator. All right, you can see there's an elevator. So this is the first floor, presumably, and it goes down. I don't know how many levels it goes down, but it goes down. But you see, there's not any pulleys or lifts or anything that's visible. But what you do see here is that the tracks, they kind of twist inside. Think of, like, if you like a candy cane, how the lines of a candy cane are twisted in like a helical type of pattern. That's how the elevator goes up and down, and the reason why is so that when you get on, it turns as it descends into the bottom to the bottom, so that you have presumably there's just one door on the elevator. So when it goes down in again, a graceful way, but it also allows for you to have the same, as you exit, it's using the same opening in the door, which they could have done. I guess it could have been done simply just by going up and down without the twisting motion. But it's a design feature as well. It's an aesthetic, as well as just a calming type of design feature. That's pretty cool. The other thing that you'll see here is that this is limestone going down to the bottom. Limestone staircase that follows the curvature of the building, and you'll see as we go down. But let's continue here. Now I'm going to stop it here, and I think we'll see as we go along. This is really interesting. The panels here are designed in a way so that it creates a calming effect. All these things, these panels are designed in a way to have symmetry, to have visual interest as well. One thing I did notice, if you see here, this is the starting point, and everything radiates from there. It looks to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different radius points. You'll often see odd numbers in design. Odd numbers of anything tend to, if you lay them side by side, they tend to have a better visual effect than even objects, and that's what you see here. That's also the same way why it goes from this one point to it goes to 3 points. Like, for example, we got 1, 2, 3. We go here, and then you'll see the same thing all the way around. I'm just taking just a random triangle here. We go from 1 to 1, 2, 3 different points. The other thing I noticed too is that they go from, if you go here, let me show you this first. This is just pretty interesting. Wondering about execution of when you design something versus when you actually build it. And if you look at the lighting here, this first ring lighting seems off. I would have preferred the lighting as well to be aligned with the different radius points, and they are at some point, but not all. Let's go a little bit further, see if we can see this just a little bit closer. I think you can kind of see a little bit better here how some of the Let's see if I can see a little bit better. I think this first ring does it okay. There's a line right. This recessed lighting lines up here, here, here. I think they do a good job with this first ring, but I think it's the second ring and the third ring is when it starts getting off, which is fine because this is. I mean, I'm nitpicking at this point, but I'm nitpicking because this is a this building was designed with great detail. Um, and sometimes I think, when you have boots on the ground who are actually building these things, it's very easy to want to finish the project as opposed to finishing the project with great detail, attention to detail. Let me go back here. This is I guess a better look into how thick those seams are, or how thin they are rather, so you can see how incredible it is to embed the infrastructure inside there for the lighting. Let me try to go back just a little bit here so we can see the ceiling detail. I saw another image that kind of maybe showed a little bit better. That doesn't really emphasize. It doesn't really show it here. And maybe I could be wrong. I saw another picture that had the alignment of the lights not exact. Not they were kind of off in different areas. Once you get further out, I'm not going to nitpick on that because this is an incredible building. But it's just one of those things where when you look at, especially when there's nothing else, your eyes are drawn to the ceiling, to the ring of light, to the how the light is spaced, how it's illuminating the space. This is intentional, so I would expect them to do do something kind of minimalist while being very sophisticated and in design. Well, let's keep going. Now, one thing I will say, I think it kind of has a missed opportunity here. I don't like this. I don't like the rug. These are just random rugs that come from those companies that come and pick up your rug. They clean it and they pick it up and bring it back. They just those normal commercial type places that do these things. I would have preferred for Apple to have maybe like a panel that was in the same shape of one of the roof panels. Something a little bit more bespoke that was the same width as a glass pane, but again, also that follows the same roof line with the floor mats. It's a small detail. It's probably not even important, but it makes a difference. I mean, when they spent giving everything else the level of attention that this building has had, this is just a very something. This is something that they could have done a little bit. Well, not a little bit. They could have done a better job at integrating a design detail. I mean, we don't. I would prefer for a design detail in this caliber building to have something more bespoke than just two mats put together. But I digress. All right. One thing I saw right away. This is limestone, and this is actually a cool detail here that they didn't just stick something on it. They actually carved the name of the name into the stone. Just a subtle detail, but it's a cool detail nonetheless because it just goes into just the level of detail. One thing I think they could have done differently. If you see here, all the panes, all the tile, the pieces of tile they're the exact same size all the way around, except for the opening right here on this side. Let me stop. On this side and on this side, I think it really missed. I think this is something that because it's so austere, you know, the rest of the way, this whole wall is so, uh, kind of mute in its tone and kind of monolithic in a way, if you will. I would prefer them to have taken this opening just a little bit wider to this point on each side. See right here, they could have took this opening, which looks to be, I don't know, maybe a foot, maybe move it over just a little bit, or maybe even they could have angled it. But the issue is that this kind of throws off the shape because there are no other shapes like this. This looks like to be a third of, maybe a third of, or a fourth. I'd say maybe a fourth of the size of the all the other ones. This doesn't exist any other place. What this tells me is that this is a compromise. This is not a design feature. They wouldn't have this. You wouldn't have ordinarily designed this, especially when there are no other instances where a quarter shape or a quarter size of the tile is prevalent. And that's my only criticism of this part, just because it interrupts the flow. Most people would not even pay attention to it, but I saw it. Now, one other thing that I did notice I thought was pretty cool that it looks like there are tile grout lines or maybe seams. It may not make. I don't think it's tile on the bottom. I think it's concrete. Maybe a terrazzo type of flooring. But it follows. I think there's a line right there, kind of like how it is down here at the bottom, right here that goes around. I think there's a line that follows the curvature of the roof. I thought it was pretty cool. All right, now here's my other criticism. Now think about this is all stone too, but you don't really get the feeling of stone from pictures. Pictures, I'm sure, don't do it justice. I'm sure it's more beautiful in person. But when you see this is so kind of vanilla and stark. There's no dimension here. And with stone, I would have preferred it to be maybe like there be offsets to some degree. So you can maybe like a design where you kind of see the dimensionality to make it feel natural as the materials are natural. What I mean by that is like there are different patterns. I think you often see it with brick where they may offset it maybe like a few centimeters or so, where you can see that it actually is stone. You actually can see that there is a natural product here, but it's just so flat and kind of static. There's no dynamic visual element to it, which is I think is a missed opportunity here. And if you saw it up close, you'll see what I'm talking about. Right now, this just looks like wallpaper. I know it's stone because I can see it, but you don't. I can tell that it's stone based on just based on what I know, what I'm familiar with. But it just doesn't convey well, especially looking at it in pictures. And we have another one of these domes here, or not dome, I guess the ceiling detail that mimics what it is up top. This is kind of like what I was trying. If you kind of see what I'm talking about, this is a good, very good example of what I'm trying to explain. So how the sunlight comes in, and you can see like there's a little dimension right there, just right there, and then there may be just a little bit here. You can kind of see that these are natural materials. I think they would have been. I would have preferred for them to have been more intentional. I know this is just a product of the tile person or the stone person just putting it together. They didn't think about this. This is just something that happened. But if they were intentional about creating this sort of detail, especially where the light comes in, I would imagine with all the light panels that go around, light probably dances all the way around this building throughout different times of the day. That would have been an opportunity. That would have been a great opportunity to display some texture inside an otherwise, kind of very minimalist, even in surfaces, a minimalist environment. And also, I wanted to kind of touch on the fact that this kind of gives you, if you've ever been to the Louvre in Paris, how you have the glass pyramid up top. This is a very similar effect to that, where you have, you're not really sure what's happening underneath as you approach. When you approach, you just see the top, the top level is pretty, unassuming, but then you go down and then you see everything that this is designed in and made of. So this is kind of another example of, being surprised or being welcomed or having created a moment, so to speak, by ushering in people or pulling you in without the glass and the sort of attachment or association with nature. But then you go down and then you really see the beauty. You see the additional design inside the building underneath. Now, actually, what I find cool about this, I actually don't hate this. This is a design feature that is reminiscent of Apple's products in general. You see the aluminum cladding on the outside with just no other visual detail except for the Apple logo. And this just reminds me of the back of the iPhone or the back of a MacBook, something like that. This gives me that feel. And I think this is okay for it to be kind of austere, kind of to be just kind of really static and kind of very minimalist right here. But everywhere else, I think it was again a missed opportunity to create some dimension here in the surfaces that doesn't exist everywhere else. But this is cool right here. More aluminum right here. Again, reminiscent of the materials that they use in their other products. What I'm not sure, I don't know if this video is going to actually be able to go inside the actual theater itself. What I have learned, and see, here's another view right here. Oh, let me go back. A cool detail that I didn't touch on, but you can see here, and in the other a few minutes earlier, that the handrail detail is carved into it was carved into the stone. So you don't have anything jutting out or something that doesn't have an aesthetic appeal to it that matches everything else. But it gives you the utility, but none of the visual clutter that some handrails would offer. I think it's a very good execution of just blending in a utilitarian function that doesn't call out to itself. Just really nice. Here's another thing too. This is kind of like what I was trying to explain up top. You can see the panels here. These are very well thought out, how they line up. But you see the lights? They're not. I don't think it would have been much different for them to line up these lights. Here, put one here, maybe put one in the middle for symmetry. They seem a little bit more haphazard in a lot of places than I would expect in this building. Again, very small detail, but these are important details um, because they said they speak to the level of craftsmanship and quality in design, and I just think this is a they didn't do good right here. Let me just say that they didn't do good, for lack of a better term. They could have done better. I don't know if we're gonna be able to go inside here, but I'm told that there's seating for 1,000 inside, and the sofa or the seating that's designed for those people were made in Italy, to the tune of $14,000 per seat, and the seats are think of like a they're kind of curved a little bit in brown leather. It looks almost like it could be like a BMW, 7 Series type of thing. Just the way they look. They have a really good, a very supple look to them. Again, I don't know if this video is going to show it. We'll see. Oh, there we go. Let's see if they show a different part of it. They didn't show it. Let's go back a little bit. This is what I was meaning. You can't really tell here, but this is all the seating. This is all leather. Again, seating for 1,000 on leather seats. I mean, you never see leather seats inside of a corporate environment to this scale. But I thought it's a really it's a really nice touch. I mean, I would say people may say that leather is probably doing too much, but I would say leather lasts generally longer than most other materials, natural or otherwise. So if you want something that's going to stand, that's going to take abuse and not tear as soon, and would just has a decent quality appeal to it. I don't dislike having leather in in a corporate environment. Again, cost is probably they had gotten something like what you see maybe like Mercedes. Mercedes makes you may not know this. A lot of people may not know this, but a lot of the quote unquote leather that are found in a lot of Mercedes vehicles is called MB Tex. They've been using it for decades. Lasts a long time, but it's not leather. I wouldn't imagine that it would cost any less at this scale for them to have used materials like that versus actual leather. So I'm okay with this. Again, from a longevity, quality type piece, but obviously, that means a lot of cows, have to sacrifice themselves and make this happen. So they may not go well with environmentalists, but I like it nonetheless. This looks like this is the end because I think it went back to someone driving. This is the end of the look inside of the Apple Steve Jobs theater. Tell me what you thought in the comments if what you saw. I don't know the cost. I can't remember what the cost was. But do you think that design choices match, the cost? Maybe you can Google what the costs are and just how well it fits, even 5, 6, 7 years, however old it is, how it's aged. What are your opinions on it? Tell us in the comments what you think, if this is money well spent. Do you think these details are great details? Do you think it matches Apple's aesthetic? Tell me what you think in the comments, and we'll get back. We'll see you next time. Thank you.